Okay, so a few of you asked for some questions on the assignment for Math 12A. So 31, 32, 33, and 34. So I'm not going to do all of those because I'm not. So when you have a fraction, you need to think asymptotes. So if I have, I don't know, 1 over x squared minus 5x plus 6, let's say. Actually, let's make it minus x plus 6. Let's make it that. All right? The first thing I'm going to ask myself is, does that bottom factor? And it does. It factors to x minus 3 and x plus 2. To figure out horizontal asymptotes, I look at the degree on the top versus the degree on the bottom. The degree is what is the highest exponent on a variable. So in this, the highest exponent was x squared when it was like this. It was x squared. But the top is really x to the 0. If the degree on the bottom is bigger than the degree on the top, there's automatically a horizontal asymptote at 0. Now, if I had 3x squared over 2x squared minus 5, the degree is the same. So I take the coefficients out in front, which is 3 over 2. So there would have been a horizontal asymptote at a height of 1.5, 1.5, 3 over 2. But in this case, the degree on the bottom is bigger than the degree on the top, which means there is automatically a horizontal asymptote at 0. So y is equal to 0 is my horizontal asymptote. Now, in terms of vertical asymptotes, once I have this factored, whatever would make each of those brackets 0, that would be the vertical asymptote. So if x is equal to 3, or if x is equal to negative 2. So there is vertical asymptotes at 3. So let's say 1, 2, 3. Vertical asymptote there. Should be on 3. And negative 2. 1, 2. So negative 2. There would be a vertical asymptote there. In terms of what it looks like, now I would do a quick table of values. The values that I would pick, I need a calculator. The values that I would pick, I can't pick 3, but I can pick a little bit beyond it, so maybe 3.1 and a little bit before it, so 2.9. With negative 2, I would do negative 2.1 and negative 1.9, and then I'd pick some things in the middle between those. So I already basically know what this is going to look like, but just to give you an idea, if I do negative 2.1, and you can put it into the factored form or you can put it into this, it doesn't really matter. So 2.1 squared minus negative 2.1, so plus 2.1 minus 6, so 1 divided by that, I get 1.96. At negative 1.9, 1.9 squared minus negative 1.9, so plus 1.9 minus 6, and 1 divided by that, I get negative 2.04. So at negative 2.1, it's almost 2, and at negative 1.9, it's negative 204. what's actually going to happen is it's going to do this. And I do the same thing for 3. It's going to end up doing this. And this is actually going to end up doing something like that, is what is actually going to happen. But again, I would do a table of values. I'd pick some other numbers besides this, like I would go further back. I'd do maybe -3, and then maybe I would do like -1, 0, 1, and 2, just to fill in some numbers so that it's easier for me to get the picture. I don't need to do that because I know what it looks like. But that's how you find your vertical and horizontal asymptotes, and then you do a quick table of values. So always be thinking about, can I factor anything? Do things cancel out? That type of questions. So that covers kind of 31 and 32. Someone else asked me about 33 and 34. Again, I'm not going to do ones. I'm not going to do those exact ones. But if I have y is equal to -2 root x plus 1, I don't know, minus 5. Let's say that's what my equation was, okay? There's no asymptotes because this is not a fraction. No fraction, no asymptotes. However, I know that underneath the radical, I cannot have any number that would make whatever is under the radical less than 0. So the smallest this can be is -1, because -1 plus 1 would make 0. So if my x then was -1, my y, -1 plus 1 would be 0. The square root of 0 is 0 times -2 is 0. Sorry, minus 5 is -5. So at -1, it's -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I honestly would just pick some numbers. Now, I would be very careful about the numbers that I chose, because what I want this to work out nicely. So I've already chosen -1 because that puts 0. But if I choose 0, 0 plus 1 is 1. The square root of 1 is 1. 1 times -2 is -2. And -2 take away 5 is -7. So at 0, it's -7. And then maybe even just one more. The next thing that has a nice square root is 4, which means this would have to be 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 times -2 is -4. -4 minus 5 is -9. I'm seeing a pattern here with my y's now. So 7, 8, 9, but that's at 1, 2, 3. So what's happening is it's looking like that. Again, because it's negative, I knew it was going to be going down, not up. The minus 5 meant that everything was moved down 5. The plus 1 meant that everything was moved back 1. I already knew basically what it was going to look like, but if you're struggling, do a quick table of values. Same thing if you have an absolute value to do. The graph for the absolute value of x, if you have y is just equal to the absolute value of x, we talked about this briefly way back when, it's just a v. Because if x is -1, y is 1. If x is -2, y is 2. If x is -3, y is 3. If x is +1, y is 1. If x is -2, y is 2. So it's just a v. So then if we put numbers around it, I don't know, 4x plus 2 plus 3, all right? The same rules apply. It's why we did that whole chapter on how does adding, subtracting, multiplying onto your basic function, how does that affect the graph? The plus 3 would move that v up 3. The plus 2 would move it to the left 2. That 4 would make it 4 times skinnier. Again, so I kind of basically know what it should look like. I already know that it should go back 2, 1, 2, and up 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I know it's got to be pretty skinny because there's a 4 in front of it, which makes it 4 times skinnier. But again, I would do a quick table of values for that. I already know where my vertex is, where that turning point is. It's at -2 and 3. And again, if I put -2 in here, -2 plus 2 is 0, times 4 is still 0, plus 3 is 3. See how I get that answer? So I might just pick like a couple, -3, -4, -1, and 0. Maybe I'll just pick a few and put them in. -4 plus 2 is -2. The absolute value of -2 is 2. Times 4 is 8, and 8 plus 3 is 11. So at -4, it's 11. So at -4, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's like off the board. At -3, -3 plus 2 would be -1. So absolute value of -1 is 1. Times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So at -3, it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. See how I was like pretty close even just by estimating? And I do the same thing on the other side. So that's just a quick explanation of some of those questions. Again, I did not do them for the ones that are on the thing for you. That's up to you to do. But I did ones very, very similar to it. And I just made them up in my head. They didn't come from anywhere. If you're looking, where did she get those numbers from? Just my brain, all right? So I hope that helps. You need to hand that in before the end of the day. Please hand it in over Google Classroom. You can just go to today's lesson and upload it there, or you can go back to where I talked about it. I don't care. I get a notification when you upload it in Google Classroom, but then at least it's all there. And I can just write the little message in the private message box to let you know where you went right and where you went wrong. With the email, I find they're just all over the place and it's really hard to keep track of. So if you could just upload it in Google Classroom, preferably just into today's lesson because you need to hand it in today. So that would make sense, right? Okay, so we will talk to you again soon. And I already uploaded the lesson for tomorrow because the lesson for tomorrow is just watch the video that I posted and do those questions. Some of you have already handed in your assignments, so you can go ahead and get that done now. So for tomorrow, there really won't be a lesson per se. I might post a little reminder just saying remember to go back and watch the video and do the questions. Other than that, we're pretty good. Just know we are almost to the end of chapter 7. We really only have, I think, 1, maybe 2 more sections in chapter 7 to go. We keep this up, we may be done early, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do as the time moves closer to what would be exam time. We're taking this day by day and trying to figure this out, so we'll just keep moving on. All right, talk to you soon, bye.